As I said, we are PCS Adventures. We are a STEM education product company based out of Boise, Idaho. We were selected to be part of the STEM Scale-Up program, which is through the Iowa Governor's STEM Council. It's a great program that's being put on in the state of Iowa to allocate funding to various STEM projects, and our ReadySet Drone was selected to be part of it. So today we want to give you kind of an overview of who we are, what ReadySet Drone is, and why we think it would be a great option for you to use in your program. First, we'll do a couple brief introductions. If I can get, there we go. So I'll let Susie go ahead first and give a little introduction about herself, and then we'll progress to Michelle and finally myself, and then we'll get things kicked off.
Hi, everybody. My name's Susie Hayslip, and I am the Director for Business Development at PCS. I've been with the company for a really, really long time, almost, or I guess over 20 years now, and I really enjoy helping educators implement STEM programming into their programs and helping them do that. A big part of my job is to connect them to the different programming of their needs and funding. So we were so excited about this opportunity with Iowa STEM Scale Up to be able to help you guys out. So I look forward to working with you.
Awesome. So hi, everyone. This is Michelle. I'm our Director of STEM Development. So I got to work with some of our educators to help develop this curriculum and have led several of the trainings. And so we are really excited to be bringing this to Iowa. We also have on here, Tyler is one of our lead trainers, has also led several of those trainings. So we both are part of the development team and are here to answer any questions.
Wonderful. And my name is Ryan Byard. I am a STEM program specialist, and I work with the sales team here at PCS, and I've been here about 5 years and have addressed many questions about ReadySet Drone, and I'm intimately familiar with it, and we'll definitely give you a good breakdown of it today. So before we get into ReadySet Drone, kind of how we structure our products, there's a little brief overview of who PCS is as a company. It was started by a gentleman named Patrick McShane back in the 80s, back when computer science was very much lacking. So he kind of took matters into his own hands and started teaching kids out of his garage here in Boise, Idaho. And from that, it developed into learning centers. And then from learning centers, it went into product and curriculum development. We have representation in all 50 states and in countries all over the world. And our guiding philosophy is using hands-on manipulatives and getting kids really intimately involved with our products. We feel that hands-on experience, what we refer to as kinesthetic learning, is a very powerful tool in education. An overall view of what our enrichment programs are, I would say that they're best defined as an all-inclusive product. They contain everything you need to execute the program. Another term could be turnkey, as we use here. They are all designed to be used with up to 30 students. They all have alignment to various educational standards such as ISTE and NGSS, 21st century skills, habits of mind. They all include webinar training, and specifically for the scale up, there would be in-person workshops or in-person training that will occur at various sites throughout the state of Iowa. And we will have further details on that as we get closer to those dates. And I believe from here, Susie will, we'll take over.
All right.
Get a little overview.
Yeah. So as a STEM curriculum development company, we're always looking for the most high-tech, interactive, manipulative, or piece of technology that we can use in order to do a great job with STEM learning and provide great STEM education. And so bringing drones into our fold and into our expertise has just been an awesome experience. It's been just fabulous for educators, and it's super fun for us. We'd love to be able to share STEM career opportunities with students. And drones just overall do a great job offering an educational platform for learners. They're interactive, they're engaging, fun, of course, hands-on, and they also introduce great career options for the future. You can slide. So the big question is, what is a drone? Well, technically, it's an unmanned aerial vehicle, meaning that you do not have a human pilot in it. And one of the best ways to describe it is anywhere a human can't get to, a drone can. And this has become extremely useful in all types of business and industry. Industries which are beginning to utilize more drone technologies might be quite surprised. Some of the most interesting uses include finding sharks near beaches. It alerts swimmers. There was even a snot bot where they go above a whale and capture snot from a whale to do biology testing, search and rescue, transportation of health supplies to remote regions. Really, the possibilities of the UAVs are endless and also extend into everyday life through photography, videography. Agriculture is a huge part. They're using drones all the time for all of their needs. Package deliveries, I'm sure you've heard of Amazon and whether or not we're going to have drones flying over our house, and even pizza delivery. So go ahead, Ryan, you can do the next slide. So what we've done is put together a variety of different drone packages and drone education experiences. And we're going to be focused in on ReadySet Drone today, but it's even just a prequel to our other programs that we have. And so we just wanted to share a short spotlight on drone designers. So if you really like ReadySet drones, Drone Designers offers more of an emphasis in digital media arts, in which they do some more performing and build costumes for the drones and put on a whole performance. So we have a lot of opportunities for you for different grade levels and grade bands and so forth if you love ReadySet Drone. And so without further ado, we're going to take you to the exciting part, is to see it in action. And we're going to watch this quick video.
ReadySet Drone from PCS Edventures is the ideal introductory program to everything UAV for students and teachers. If you're looking to start your own drone program, this is definitely the place to begin. The 12 one-hour lessons offer clear support for educators, even if you've never flown a drone before. Our interactive notebooks for student inquiry, combined with our Dronology Junior video series, make instruction a breeze. Both tools help you to easily impart essential drone knowledge to students. The final piece for success are the easy-to-operate mini drones. Telos help learners take to the skies right away. Safety is a priority as students learn to work together on flight teams. They get to know responsibilities of real pilots, mechanics, engineers, and safety officers. Together, they problem-solve a variety of challenges centered around real-world uses for drones. During challenges, learners apply knowledge of drone rules, ethics, physics, basic piloting skills, and photography techniques. Students especially love building launch pads for search and rescue challenges and gates for racing with our Brick Lab sets. We've done the testing and legwork for you to be successful with your students. Download a free curriculum sample from PCS Edventures to experience ReadySet Drone activities for yourself. Or set up a call with one of our STEM ambassadors to learn more about starting your own ReadySet Drone program.
Thanks, Ryan. So to kind of bring it all back together, Ryan's going to continue on, and we're going to really focus in on the different components of the ReadySet Drone package. And then we're also going to be discussing the professional development portion and the implementation. So we'll have plenty of time for questions after this initial offering.
Thanks, Susie. All right, so as that video described, ReadySet Drone is a multifaceted program. It includes all of the materials you see here. So this gives you kind of a snapshot of what all is included in terms of tangible materials. And then there are some digital elements as well. In terms of what it's touching on, these bulleted points here give you an overview of the subject matter that it covers. So it's going to get into how to be safe around drones, including flight safety, battery safety, things of that nature, understanding the basic parts of drones, understanding how to pilot them and pilot them competently, understanding the physics at play, so the flight physics and how drones interact with their environment, understanding ethics and the laws that govern the use of drones. And then, as we described earlier, getting into the applications of drones. So using them in things like agriculture, using them to move materials, to do any kind of photography, videography, there's basically limitless uses for drones. And we think that this package is a great launching pad for that. In terms of the concepts that are going to be covered, you're going to get into aviation, computer science. There's some media elements to it as well. And then the others that you see here. So there's a number of ways that we approach it. We use differentiated instruction, and that's something that I'll get into as well a little bit later on. So in terms of the resources that are available, so above and beyond the physical materials, such as the drones and pencils and pads and such, the students will get, or rather the instructor will get an educator guide, and that guide is their, central hub that they have for all the information. So it's going to have all the daily lessons in there. All of our enrichment programs, which would include ReadySet Drone, are structured with 12 one-hour lessons, and they're also extensions off of those lessons. So if you feel that you want to delve deeper into a particular subject, each of those lessons will allow you the ability to dive off and get in a little bit further with your students. And if you don't have the time for that, by all means, it's an extension. You can just keep going with the daily lesson plans. The kits also include scientific notebooks, and there are notebooking activities where the students go through, and I'll share a little bit later on the presentation with that. Another element is Dronology Junior. So that's an online learning course, and it's a more age-appropriate version of the original course, which was referred to just as Dronology. And that's where you're going to get into a lot of the ethics of drone use, understanding basic safety of drone use, the anatomy of the drone, things of that nature. It's also kind of fun because the students get little lanyards that they wear that describe what role they're playing. So as you see in that picture there, there's a mechanic, engineer, a spotter, a pilot, safety officer, and they each have individual roles that are called out within the curriculum. There's also posters you can see kind of in the corner there under the lanyards. And I believe we have another slide that shows one of those posters, but it gives students a visual representation of what a drone looks like. Also, when they're using a controller of any kind, what movement on a controller does, how that corresponds with movement in the drone. And then for the Tello drone, which is the mini drone included in the package, we include a manual, and that's written by PCS. So it's written by educators for educators. So it's not just the product manual, that you pull out of the box and has micro print. It's been thoughtfully put together, and it will help you working through with the drones. So this is a little snippet out of the curriculum. As it showed in the video, there was someone thumbing through there showing the day's lessons, but this would be, for example, day 10. And each of these lessons is going to be structured in more or less the same way. And it's going to begin with the connections to various STEM subjects. So in this one, it'll be technological tie-in for digital citizenship. There's a suggested duration, so total amount of time to be spent for the lesson, the materials that you will need out of the kit in order to execute that day's lesson. And then there's going to be a schedule of events and about how much time you're going to need to allocate to each of the different activities so that you can get through it in the time that we've allotted. But as with anything, there's the ability to extend off of it, and we include those lesson extensions so that you can get a little bit more out of the curriculum should you choose. As I described, there's the Dronology Junior course. These are the two main characters of Dronology Junior, the Drone Doctor and Rex, which is shorthand for receiver in RC speak or in drone speak. So if you ever see RX or TX, that means receiver and transmitter. And as we said, this is a video course, and it's very playful, and it gets students engaged, and it's just another avenue to convey the information. So as we said, we have posters that we get information across with. There's the daily lessons, and then there's also the Dronology Junior course. And this is all housed in an LMS, and we provide access to that LMS, and you have essentially unlimited seats. There's a certain capped number of seats, but what you can do is rotate students in and out freely. So for example, if you had 30 students in one semester or quarter, you could have them in for the duration of the quarter. When you're done, you go ahead and cycle them out, and then you have 100 fresh seats to work with. So you don't need to come back to us to re-up for seats or anything like that. It is a perpetual license for use.
And by the way, the Dronology Junior is one of my favorites. It's animated, it's fun, shares great information, and students just love it. It's also something they can easily do online. So if you don't have time to go out and work with the drones, it's just it's a great addition. You're going to love it.
It is indeed. So as I described, here's a little snippet of what the posters would look like. So in addition to the one about the controller, this is the one breaking down the anatomy of the drone. So getting them to understand what those various components are when they're seeing it in text, and then they can associate that with the visual. And that kind of ties it all together, which can be helpful, especially for English learners or anybody that's a more visual learner. That can help them kind of bring all that information together, just as opposed to just reading, rote text. So that helps quite a bit. And if anyone needed a breakdown of what these various parts are, yes, the prop guard protects the prop. Propellers actually have on opposing corners of the drone have the same type of propeller, because that's due to the way that the motors spin. Because if all the motors were to spin in the same way and they had the same prop, you would get a drone that veers very quickly to one side and would not maintain the proper course. On the Teledrone in particular, there are sensors on board, the most notable of which is the VPS sensor, which is the visual positioning system, or this visual positioning sensor, one of those two. But that's basically like a sonar that bounces off the surface and helps it keep it nice and stable. That is one of the big pluses of the Teledrone, is how stable it is. And then it has nice built-in features like auto takeoff and such.
Hey, Ryan, we have kind of a quick question too. It's just asking about, is it easy to combine lessons if needed, as well as stretch out your instruction by doing a variety of extensions?
Yeah, absolutely. So you could lump 2 days together and do them right back to back, in a 2-hour block. You can really take that curriculum and make it as, as modular as you want. You can do it in 3-hour sections over 4 days, or you could use it as a rainy day activity for your students, or, if they've been especially good and maybe the drones are their carrot to be, on point during their daily lessons. You could bring that out as a supplemental activity. So there's lots of different ways to do it. And it can be used in a variety of environments. It can be used in an after-school environment, be used by a classroom teacher, it could be used by whomever. It doesn't require any kind of specialized teaching credential or any kind of formal teaching experience. It can be used truly by anyone who's willing to put in a little bit of prep time and set up each day's work.
And each lesson is aligned to specific standards. And I think we might have covered that a little bit earlier, but it can easily be done in the informal or formal learning environments. And I don't remember on these lessons, and Michelle, you might have to help us out here, but are they all standalone, or do some of them build on each other?
Hi, it's Michelle jumping back in here. So they do work best in sequence. I can get my video going again too. But there's no reason you couldn't, like Ryan said, have some space between them. But for example, as they go through, some of the piloting challenges get more and more challenging as they go. But there's no reason that you couldn't spread that even across a year if that's something you wanted to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you're doing STEM even one time a week, you could schedule that out for 12 weeks if you wanted.
Totally.
Absolutely. So
Sorry, Ryan, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No problem. So this slide here represents the some of the journaling activities that the students do. So in this one, they're creating thinking maps where they're using a graphic representation of the various ideas that they're having as they're going through the program. And so they keep both this and a journal of their thoughts as they go through. So that's just another element above and beyond their daily work with the drones, is them getting that time to reflect and use those notebooks. And we feel that's a very powerful tool So they get both the hands-on time experience with it, and then the ability to go back afterwards and think about what they did and how that might apply to other things that they've learned. So this would be, again, reflection here using their journaling to accomplish that. And as I described with the lanyards, there are different team roles. So because it's designed for 30 students, they're broken out into teams, and each team has each of the 6 teams would have their 5 different roles in it. So the pilot is obviously going to be the one responsible for flying the drone. Spotter is going to make sure that the environment is clear and that everyone, is aware of what's going on. That they're going to get the drone up in the air and no one's going to get bumped. Safety officer also going to be in charge of making sure that everyone's aware and making sure that the prop guards are attached and any other safety protocols. We also include safety glasses. Even though these drones are very small, they fit in about the size of the palm of an adult's hand. It's always good to instill safety practices, especially if they go on to use larger drones that do not have propeller guards, because those can have fairly powerful motors. But again, these are very small, the ones used in this kit, and they do have those propeller guards. The mechanic's going to be responsible for doing anything with regard to keeping the props on, making sure that the battery's up to snuff, and making sure the drone is in good working order. And engineer's going to be doing the brick gates. So we include building bricks as that video described, and you make a big racing gate that they can fly through with the drone. And then also a landing pad as well. So that's where the engineer would come in. So this was just a nice little motivational bit that we put in at the end here about education as a kindling of a flame rather than filling of a vessel. So you're really trying to inspire your students to get excited about this technology and to get excited about the many different associations it can have with other lines of study and other interests they might have, rather than just trying to cram information into them. It's getting them to think in a different way, getting them to reflect on what they've been learning and how that might apply to future pursuits.
All right. So, and this is what we sent over to the Iowa STEM Scale Up program. This is going to be on their website. We also have links to it that we can share with you. By the way, if you're needing this fact sheet or more information on anything at all, please leave your name in that chat with your email, and we can follow up with you directly. I am curious to find out more about your programs, if you're doing like informal or formal. As we stated earlier, we're more than welcome to help you figure out what that programming might be. I know there'll be some questions coming up, especially if you're serving multiple sections of students. For instance, this set serves up to 30 students at one time, and it is reusable. But if there's going to be back-to-back usage, then there potentially you can ask for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 kits, depending on how many students you're working with. And if there's different grade levels, some of you might have really big programs, some might be smaller, but that is that opportunity within the application. So let us know if you need help figuring that portion out. And in the very least, we would want to get you some extra batteries so that you can keep them charged for the next group. So Ryan, thank you so much for doing a great job, an overview of what was included in ReadySet Drones. We do have a full list of everything down to the colored pencils. If you want to take a look at our spec sheet, we assume that you have no materials. So it will show up, you can open it up in a gym and be ready to go. So you have everything that you're going to need. Kind of went through the recommended settings, the summer camps, the classrooms, before and after school programs. And then in order to be eligible, once you win the award, you do have to attend the professional development portion. We're having the 3-day workshops. The goal, and it'll depend on the amount of awards, so we won't know probably until you're awarded which session you're going to be able to go to. The goal would be if they had enough awards within each region, for the Iowa STEM regions, that we would have 6 regional trainings. But it's possible, if they only have 6 in one and 6 in another, they might combine those. But the best part is there is an educator stipend. So for each day that you're going to be attending, I believe it's about $129 or $360 total stipend educator stipend for that 3 days of attendance. And one thing they do share is that you would have to attend that in order to get your package. But it's a ton of fun, guys. So it'll be great. And we do plan to have those sessions the last 2 weeks in July and potentially the first 2 weeks in August. We're waiting to find out how many regions we're going to be training in. So it would be within that time frame. And we'll keep you up to date, especially if you want to leave your name and information. As soon as we have the training worked out, we can share that information with you. Ryan, I don't know that we went through the requirements too for the program. Did we talk any more about that?
We didn't cover that, but yeah, I
Yeah.
can do a little quick overview of it.
I just, within that package, you do have to have either tablets or a smartphone. And so what happens to run those telos is they'll be able to be software or an app will be downloaded into that device. And then that is what controls and pilots your drone. So that would be extra materials that you might already have, hopefully, in order to be able to work with that program.
Mhm.
Annual sustainability cost, $50 to $150. We anticipate that you'll potentially need new prop guards. It already comes with extra pairs within the package that you receive. The drones are super small. They fit in the palm of your hand. So even if they were to run into you, they're not going to hurt you, and they don't get beat up too badly. You do want to watch out for your hair. So put your hair back, but we include the safety glasses as well. So there might be pieces here and there that might need to be renewed, especially probably batteries. So we're, again, that $50 to $150 annually, and depending on how much you're using them as well. And then down to the professional development. So what we're going to work on within those 3 days, and Tyler and Michelle, feel free to jump in here. They're our training experts, but we're going to go over safety protocols, flight team roles. They do engineering challenges, flight controls and practice, STEM practices, physics of flight, and especially a really important one is the laws and ethics portion. Which, even if you're a recreational drone user, you're going to want to know the correct laws and regulations for flying a drone, and how not to be annoying, and make sure you know about the privacy laws and so forth. And one of the greatest parts about this introduction to drones is that your students can go on to get their drone pilot license at age 16. So by introducing it to them at such an early age, it's going to be a great program, and we can share more information about other packages that offer more of the piloting if you wanted to go in and get your Part 107. There are going to be, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Susie. I was just going to mention just real quick that, one of the components that we're going to have in the training, in addition to covering the curriculum and, doing sample lessons and showing you how to use all the equipment, is there will be a piece where we will be connecting to local industry within Iowa that is using drones in their day-to-day operations. So you're going to get an overview introduction to, to the curriculum and the materials that we provide, but we're also going to have a piece that's going to allow you to connect to people locally within the state of Iowa who are actively using drones, and get you connected into the real community of drone users, there in your state. So.
And Tyler, will that be via field trip, or maybe they come to you?
We don't know just yet. We're still waiting to hear back from Iowa on a couple of things before we're going to have all the details of the training planned out.
Yeah. And, I think that's a really good point in introducing drone education into your program. There's so many wonderful ways to get and garner support with that by mentor programming, having those that have careers with drones come in and talk with the students, forging relationships with police officers, fire, search and rescue. I think it opens up. It's a great community booster. The kids can even go into, anybody can go into drone racing, which is another really fun part of the community within those drone communities. And there's, I'm sure, more than likely drone experts within your area that they can come in and help mentor even after Tyler's gone.
We had a quick question come up in the chat that we feel like is pertinent. So Tammy asks, what if someone has gone the last week in July and the first week in August? Are there going to be more PDs than one?
So we will plan to have 6 sessions potentially over those 2-week sessions. My suggestion would be, is there another person that you could apply with to have them go to the training and get the training and then come back and train with you?
And
I don't,
Susie,
those are the, yeah.
I was gonna say, so, and it's my understanding too, that the state of Iowa should let us know by the end of the school year what those specific date ranges are. Right now, they are still, there's a window of the last few weeks of July, first few weeks of August. So potentially by the end of May, we should know exact dates. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, but this person was going to be on vacation for those last 2 weeks of July.
Well, just the last week of July and the first week of August. So then there is
Oh, I see.
potential, if there's room on either side of that, that there could be training on either end of that. So
exactly. We just won't know for sure until.
Yeah, the basic answer is that we have yet to determine what those exact dates are, but it's possible that those will be available.
Yeah. So my suggestion, I've worked with another inquiry that they were concerned about training dates and even actually training location, is I would move forward with the application. The worst possible thing that could happen is that you might have to turn it down. But, you know, as soon as we get that information, we'll absolutely share that with you. And I think that's something Michelle and I have been discussing too, if we could even just plan on 2 locations now to find out. But it's really so hard because we could have, you know, to have to do all 6 locations and offer you a better opportunity.
One thing I think you guys do a great job of though in all the trainings is after you've gone through all of the lessons and done those local connections, is really spending time getting people to kind of coordinate and collaborate together. So maybe everyone in the libraries gets together, everyone in the summer camps, to talk about, you know, how are you going to adapt this and then how can you extend it? Obviously there's 12 1-hour lessons, but we've seen people go as far as putting together full semester courses. So the goal is that you really can get a ton of mileage out of this investment, you know, and those 12 1-hour lessons are just there to kind of kick you off and get started.
Yeah, for sure. We have also, ReadySet Drone is now implemented within iSTEM, within the state of Idaho, at over 100 different education organizations through a similar grant there with the Idaho STEM Action Center. So we have a whole lot of resources of how they have been using them and lesson plans that they've been using as well. So to collectively, your training group or whoever you're with, and even statewide, hopefully that'll be on a, you know, file or user share community to where everybody has access to that and everybody collaborates with it. Is that what iSTEM does? I just noticed at your last training, Michelle, that everybody was on the file, on the Google Drive and shared folder.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of cool what happens. I mean, people will really connect with each other. So at our last training, some of the teachers set up a shared Google folder, and as people were finding news articles or different informations or worksheets that they made for their students, they would post it there and share it with everybody. And so that was something that could extend way past the training as everyone was teaching.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's always a really good way to do it. And then you have special alignments to whatever your classroom or standard objectives are too. And that's a big part of it, is how you're going to implement it. I would love to hear some feedback from those that have joined us today, either how they heard of us or what their interest is, or how they are going to go about using ReadySet drones, if you have time.
I'll go ahead. I am Leah Emo. I am an outreach coordinator for Iowa State University Extension and Outreach. And I am extremely interested in doing drones either in a camp or an after school format with middle school students. There's some schools that are done at 2:45. So I really would like to get into the schools and at least do an hour lesson, and having it at 12-week, it could either last, like, it seems like it would be like a whole semester. So I think that would be a great way to expose them to the drones and to STEM concepts.
That's awesome. And how many, are you program coordinator for multiple school sites or at one?
I am for Dubuque County in Iowa. So the whole county I serve. So the Western Dubuque School District and Dubuque, really. So then there's 5 middle schools throughout. So I anticipate Sorry, I'm working from home.
That's okay.
I anticipate doing it at one school, and we'll see how it goes. But I know for sure that other schools would eat up the program if it was in a summer day camp format as well.
Awesome. That's perfect. And the other thing I think you can do, and I guess I don't know for sure, but you can order multiple sets. So if you wanted to have one stay at each one of the middle schools, you could do that, but it would still be under you, I think. We'll have to look further in the application.
We also got a question, or rather statement in from Carla. And Carla said her principal recommended the program for their 4th to 7th grade extended learning program to enhance the code.org materials that they already use. So there's
That's
definitely
awesome.
tie-ins here. And the nice thing about the teledrones that are included in this package is that they are compatible with many different coding languages. And we have a product in particular called Coding with Drones, in which they work through both block coding, then they go in and learn JavaScript, Node-RED, Python, various different languages. So in addition to learning about drones as a technology, they can also then apply that technology to coding and programming. Looks like Deborah also chimed in and said our school offers enrichment classes to homeschoolers. They'd be using the drones to expand STEM opportunities for their homeschoolers, and they work with K to 12. So
that's awesome. I can say our recommended age range and group is 4 to 8, but I even enjoy it. So I think in family environments, especially with those with multiple kids in the family, I think there's a lot of mentoring opportunities there as well. So I think that could be expanded a little bit for the grades.
So I think we're going to wrap things up here. Oh, Tom just asked about the application process. That's another thing I believe we can link to that. We could send you a link in that email, the follow-up email. I believe it's going to be through the Scale Up website, if I'm not mistaken. But we will definitely send you any kind of information on how to get applied for that, and then hopefully get ReadySet Drone in your hands.
Yeah, I think there was a link in the document we're looking at right now. Isn't there further down on the side, registration link?
Yes, there is. There's on the second page at the bottom. This is Jeff Benny with the STEM Council.
Great.
Hi,
Thank
Jeff.
You. Hi there.
You know, I think we were using a previous version of this or from last year that got sent to us.
Was there something else specific to the application that you had a question about?
I know that Tom asked a question about the application process, but as I said, we'll provide a link to it. But Tom, if you have any specific questions about the application process, we have the man in charge, Jeff, here, so he'd be more than willing to address you on the fly.
I don't really have a question about the process. I'm just wondering, is there a website we can go to and things of that nature? Because I've already been involved in Project Lead the Way projects previously. I'm just kind of hoping to add this to my curriculum. I'm just wondering where I go to apply for the grant.
Yeah, I believe it's this link right here. So
Yep.
iowastem.org/scale-up-application.
There's also there a tutorial on how to kind of walk you through the application process too. There's some information and a help guide for that as well.
Okay, great.
And all the fact sheets are in that link as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Jeff, thanks for being on today. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the group that you think might be helpful?
No, you talked about training and when to know about training. That might be, we did discuss that a little bit today as a network team. And I would say you'd probably know by middle May for sure. It's hard to make a final decision on that just because we don't know the number of applications, number of awards that will be granted. Sure. April 8th is going to be the deadline for us to announce awards, and shortly thereafter we can start making some training commitments. So the hope, I guess, is to have one in each STEM region.
Okay.
Well, if you guys do think of anything at all, feel free to give us, and I don't know here, I guess it'll go out in chat, but Ryan, do you want to write in the sales@adventures.com? email address, and we can send out to everybody that's attended today too.
Yeah, we're going to be sending a follow-up email. So
Okay.
yeah, you can always reach us through our website. We have a web chat, we have active phone line, got email, carrier pigeon, if you're into that kind of thing. You can
Vaccine.
get us all different ways.
Okay. Drones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for your time, for coming to learn about ReadySet Drone and learn about what PCS does. And as we said, feel free to follow up with us in any way you see fit, and we'd be more than happy to address your questions.